Let's create a question and smart solution using the KES question creator. First, navigate to your classroom to view your assignments. Here, I have assignment 1. Click the plus sign on the question panel, the new question button, or visit your assignment and use the create button to create a brand new question. This is the question creator form. Let's walk through an example together. First, enter the title for your question. This will allow you and others to search for it later. The default subject is the same subject as your classroom, but you can select another subject from the drop-down if you wish. Let's stick with algebra. Now let's take a look at the question attributes panel. Here you can set how difficult as an instructor, think this particular question is. Let's choose medium. Next, we can set the number of attempts a student can make when answering this question. If you're doing a practice problem, you can select unlimited, but let's choose 4 attempts. Now we can optionally add standards to our question. Click the Add Standard button to open the Standards panel. From here, we can select from a list of standards that exists in the KES database. If you can't find your standard, send us an email and we can add it. But let's choose Common Core for now. Now we can enter keywords into the search box to search for standards. Now here are the matching standards. You get the short name or dot notation for the standard, the long name, and a standard description. Click the Insert button to insert a standard. You can insert multiple standards into your question. Now when you're done, click the X or the Close button to close the standards panel. Now let's write the actual question. This question is about factoring a quadratic equation, so let's type that in. You can use the editor functions to format your question text. Since this question has an equation in it, let's use the equation editor to enter it in. You can enter equations using the ASCII math format, which is a natural way of entering mathematical equations. We'll show a real-time preview of your equation as you type it. Click the Insert button to insert the equation. To edit the equation, simply select between the slashes and press the Equation Editor button again. Since our equation looks good, we don't need to make any edits, so let's just cancel out of this. Now let's input the accepted answer to this question. Since the answer type is an equation, we select equation from the answer type dropdown. Again, we can type in our equation using the ASCII math format. The question creator will inform you if your equation is incorrect or can't be understood by our system. We can choose the point value for this answer by using the points dropdown. Okay, now let's work through the solution. Let's enter the concept behind this problem. And you know what? I found a great video from Khan Academy that explains factoring quadratic expressions. So what I'm going to do is copy the link in my web browser and paste that in the text box. When the question is submitted, we'll automatically embed the content. KES can embed content like videos and images from over 250 websites. In addition, I'll add my PowerPoint slides on factoring quadratics as an asset. I'll click the Add Asset button, give my asset a name so I can find it later, select Choose File, double click on my PowerPoint, and then click Create and Insert Asset. And now my asset is there as a link that students can click on to download my PowerPoint slides. Now this part here is the default student feedback question that simply checks for understanding. You can add your own custom feedback questions as we'll see later. But first, let's move on to the step-by-step solution. Let's type in step 1. Now I want to find out if my students factored correctly by adding a custom feedback question. Click the Add Feedback widget to open the Feedback widget panel. The Feedback widget panel has 3 tabs. One for recently used widgets, another one to create a brand new widget, and a third one to search the library of widgets. Let's create a brand new one. Enter the title for your widget so you can identify and search for it later. Now enter the question that you want to ask your students. Did you find the correct factors? Next, we can select how we want the widget to look, from radio buttons to select boxes to free response. Let's choose radio since we only have a few options. To specify options, simply enter a comma-separated list of responses. In this case, let's do a simple yes/no. We can preview the feedback widget, make sure it looks good, and if not, make any of the necessary changes. But I think it looks good, so if you do, click Create and Insert Widget. And now the feedback widget appears in your question. When you are done, click the X or the Close button to close the student feedback widget panel. Now let's say I wanted to know what factors students who didn't factor this problem correctly ended up choosing. I'll add another feedback widget for that. And I'll change my question, and I'll change the type to free text. I'll preview it to make sure everything looks okay. And then again, click the Create and Insert Widget to insert the widget into the step. To add the second step in the solution, click the Add Step button and follow the same procedures as we did in step 1. When you are done entering the solution, you can optionally enter metadata tags that describe your question and help find it in search queries. You can choose whether you want this question to be shared in the KES library. When you are done, click the Submit button to review your question. On this page, your question is currently in draft. You can review your question to make sure everything looks okay. And as you can see, we embedded the Khan Academy video automatically for you. You can edit your question, delete it, or if you're happy with it, click on Accept. And now, your brand new question shows up in your assignment. You can edit the question, delete it by clicking on the X, view it, view the question as a student, check grades, and analyze student responses. And that's how you create a fairly complicated question with KES.